Hey, good evening, Midwest Survivor. So, time for dinner chat. So, first off, I want to say thank you to everybody that is supporting the channel, everybody that's watching the channel. First off, I'd like to give a shout out to an amazing person who has been there for me and has been supporting me all through this process. I got a new shirt today, got a nice tungsten black ring. Baby, I want you to know I love you. Thank you so much. Melissa, you are an amazing woman, and I am completely crazy about you. So, what I want to talk about today, and just give me a second here while I fix this up here. So, every time I do dinner chat, I always plan these out at least a day or two in advance. And, the one thing that I always try to do is always do my notes. So, what we're going to talk about today, and this is probably going to be a multi-part series, but church leadership abuse and what it is and what it looks like. And I know there's a lot of things going on right now, but leadership and leadership abuse can happen not only in a church, but it can happen on the job, it can happen in a school, it can happen in a lot of places. And leadership abuse happens whenever anybody that is in a position of authority uses their position to control, to manipulate, to intimidate, to shame, or to exploit people rather than serve them correctly and with a pure heart and with good motives. And it happens gradually. You may not think it's happening, but it happens very gradually. Some common signs of abuse that happens within leadership is when questioning is discouraged. People are told not to ask questions. They are discouraged. They are castigated. They are abused. They are accused of causing problems whenever all they are wanting to do is ask questions. Another issue is whenever a person experiences concerns with leadership and it's viewed as rebellion, or disunity, or just being a nuisance. That is not correct behavior. We were given a mind. We were given the ability to think and to reason and to use critical thinking skills. And whenever we don't use those critical thinking skills, and we just go along, then we go along with a herd mentality. And that is not the way our minds were made to think. We are made to question. We are made to ask questions. We are made to not take things at face value, but to question and to reason and to logic. And here's the breakdown. When people ask questions, and when people begin to say, hey, listen, I don't think what's going on is right, 9 times out of 10, either you have touched a nerve that something is wrong, or B, you are hitting on a question that the people that are holding the reins don't have the answers to. I can say with positive affirmation and a clear and concise mindset that whenever you are hitting on questions that people don't want, they are going to throw up every objection in the world to you. And more importantly, they are going to say things and do things that are going to make you look like you're the problem. I can say this honestly, and I can say this from personal experience. It has happened to me. Number 2, and this is one that hits home to me because I was manipulated and used in this. The one thing that a lot of people in church leadership abuse issues is spiritual manipulation. God told me. Well, this is one that hits home to me because from the time I was 6 years old until the time I was 10, I had a pastor's wife that was physically abusive, verbally abusive, and emotionally and mentally abusive to me. And my parents enabled this woman to hurt me. And I asked them over and over again, listen, this is not good, this is not bad, this is not good, this is a bad situation, this woman is hurting me, I don't want to be here anymore. Well, my parents used the logic and the reasoning, God didn't tell us that we could leave. Well, I'm pretty sure God doesn't want your child to be abused. And more importantly, God doesn't want you to be abused by people. Another one that you'll hear quite frequently is, if you leave this church, you will be out of God's will. Well, here's the thing. If you are in an abusive situation, it is not God's will for you to stay there. And more importantly, it is not God's will for you to tolerate and accept that kind of abuse from people. You know, a church, a workplace, a school is supposed to be a place of safety and security, not manipulation, not guilt, and certainly not any form of abuse. Another one is using the Bible or using spiritual moments to control rather than guide a life. I have seen this firsthand, where quote unquote men of God use the Bible or use their spiritual authority or spiritual moments in a church to manipulate and shame and guilt, and even to financially gouge people. Well, you need to give because this pastor says you need to give, or you need to do this because this pastor says that you need to do that. Well, what he's doing is using emotional manipulation and spiritual manipulation to get you to conform to his perceptions and his ideologies of what he thinks that you should do, either with your life or with your finances or whatever, and that is not acceptable in any form or fashion. One thing that happens quite often is public shaming. Embarrassing members from a pulpit. You know, a church is supposed to be a place of healing and nurturing, not public bashing and you know, verbally whipping somebody and yelling and screaming and saying, well, you need to do this, or well, bless God, you know that's not acceptable forms. That is manipulation and shame and guilt, and God is not a God of guilt and shame or manipulation. The other thing is using public personal information against people. This violates every code of safety and personal private information. I've witnessed pastors that allowed pedophiles into their church and protected the pedophile indifference to children and indifference to other people, rather than they need a place to go to church. Well, you know, they made choices and made mistakes, and unfortunately those choices and mistakes bar them from being around children. I'm sorry to say, but children need to be protected from these animals and these predators. Humiliating people for mistakes. I can say that I've honestly been humiliated because of mistakes and choices. And I am continually, I know personally that people are probably still talking about the choices and mistakes I made. But here's the thing. I know what I did. I know the choices I made. And I'm fully cognizant and recognizing that every choice a person makes has benefits or consequences to that, and I'm accepting of that. Here's another one: fear-based leadership. Members feel afraid to disagree. For some reason, it is perfectly acceptable to go into debt for a church and sacrifice everything, but it is not acceptable to say, no, I don't think I should do that. And that's completely hogwash. If you lose your house to provide for a church, and you have no place to live and no place to provide a safe place for your children, then you're completely out of line and completely negligent in your roles as a parent. Another one is constant threats of judgment and punishment, or being just excluded from groups. That is never acceptable. No one should ever be excluded for disagreeing. No one should ever be cut out. No one should ever be judged for having a different opinion or different thoughts or different mindsets. And this last one, and we're going to make this a two-part. So dinner chat tomorrow will be part 2 of this very topic. And the last one I want to talk about is loyalty is demanded rather than earned. This is one that hits home with me, where leadership, both in the church world, the school world, and the business world, people demand leadership to be given like a participation trophy. I'm sorry to say, loyalty, trust, love, and friendship are things that need to be earned, not given out like a participation trophy. Because if you offer loyalty to somebody who's not going to be loyal to you, you are going to experience a lifetime of pain. They are going to be treacherous to you. They're going to betray you. They're going to betray your confidences. And they're going to be very hurtful, negative, and truthfully detrimental to your growth as a person. So, Midwest Survivor, if you have experienced any of these things over the course of your life, I encourage you, check out my YouTube videos, check out my channel. And if you're in a situation where you have been betrayed, where you are being hurt constantly, I encourage you, I implore you, get out of that situation and get as far away from those people as soon as you can, because here's the thing, they're going to keep doing it to you over and over again until you stand up to them and say, no, I'm done with this. I'm over this. You're not going to hurt me anymore. You're not going to abuse me anymore. I am a good person who does not deserve this. I did not ask for this. And more importantly, you do not have to be a welcome mat or a doormat and let people wipe their crap on you and wipe their mud on you and then slam the door in your face whenever you make objections. So, Midwest Survivor, I want you to stay healthy. I want you to get healthy, and more importantly, be healthy. So y'all have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow for Breakfast Bits, and then part 2 of this very topic, church leadership abuse. What is it and what does it look like? Y'all stay healthy, get healthy, be healthy, stay safe. Take care. Have a good night.